120.8 thousand followers. Everybody, let's welcome Micah Hescott to the Gross Potential Podcast.
They always told me like these three things: 30 to 45 second videos, always use the hashtag For You page, and make sure you're using a sound.
TikTok has just been horrible.
Just look up my name on Twitter and look at the roasts in there. That just makes me know that I'm doing the right thing if people are hating.
Let's get a little bit on the darker side though. He has a famous dad. Do you think there's like repercussions for that?
Man, I don't even know. I haven't even given it the time of day that I probably should have.
Everybody, let's welcome Micah Hescott to the Gross Potential Podcast. So me and Micah actually met in kind of a weird situation. So one of my friends, Ryan Roll, he runs a marketing agency, a creative agency, and he just reached out to me one day. He's like, yo, there's this guy on Instagram. He's posting these videos similar to what you're doing. I think you should connect to him. And I think he did the same thing with Micah. This guy set us both up. We hop on a call once, and I see his videos on Instagram. And at the time, I think he's got like 3,000 followers. So not a lot of traction. But he's posting downloaded videos from TikTok to Instagram. So it had the watermark. But these videos are so well done. And I'm like, holy shit, this guy's going to blow up. It's just this one thing. And then as soon as after that call, he got rid of the watermark videos and then just freaking skyrocketed. Today, I added up Instagram, TikTok, 120.8 thousand followers, almost at 121,000 followers across platforms. His engagement. You get a lot of hate in this industry. He doesn't seem to get a lot of hate. His people really like him, which you got to respect. And then lastly, along with just a game of content, he's a very quick learner, and he understood this game and got really good at it very quickly. So a lot of respect, Micah. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Dude, yeah, man, I appreciate all that. I totally forgot that I was posting the Instagrams with the TikTok watermark. But yeah, happy to be here, man, and pumped to see this podcast keep growing.
Awesome. I appreciate it. So I guess the first question, just to kind of settle in, why did you start creating content?
I just saw the day in the life creators posting, and I used to watch them consistently. Like, I remember if like Andrew Kammer, I still can't say his last name right. If he posted like his evening routine, I would catch myself like trying to do that same evening routine. And it just was something I was super interested in. Like, didn't watch them for 2 years, never ever thought I was going to post. And then I was on paternity leave last summer and got a little bored, and I was like, let's give it a try. And I remember my first post got 100 likes, and I was like, all right, let's just keep doing it and see how it goes. So I set a goal of doing that every day for a year and just see where I was at the year mark, which will be August 5th of 2025. And yeah, it went way, way better than expected. I thought I'd be at like maybe 10,000 followers at year one. So
have you missed a day of posting in the entire year?
Nope, not once yet.
Not once. Okay, so I think a lot of people hear that for just like content, and they're like, all right, so you post a little day in the life video every single day. No problem, no big deal. It's not a lot of work. Is that true?
No. At first it was really easy to post. Like when you start blowing up, you're like, okay, this is fun. But then once I moved on, and it was like 4 months in or so, it just got really hard. But we just keep doing it because consistency. I'm a big believer that consistency is over motivation, because you can't have motivation without consistency. So
Agreed.
Just keep doing it. And like, there's still days where it's so much fun, but there are days where it's like a job. So, but overall, it's a great time for sure.
No, absolutely. And me and Andrew, when we came on this podcast, we talked about the same thing. Like, it gets very repetitive over time. It gets tough. You mentioned like sometimes it just gets hard. What do you mean by hard?
Yeah, it's just like me being a father and a husband and being in sales. There's just a lot on my mind every day. And so there are days where, I got to go home and film, where I'd rather just sit on the couch and hang with the family, which I am hanging with the family. It's only, a fraction of time that it takes to film the videos. But yeah, it just gets hard just balancing time. That's what I'd say.
Okay, that makes sense. And then how would you say, just like, how has your life changed since posting these videos online?
I think the confidence has grown even bigger. Just because as much as like I get a lot of love, I do get a lot of hate, and the hate like kind of drives me. And I feel like kind of pushes me to another level. And weirdly, I feel like it has that reverse effect where like the more people hate, like the more like that is just like, trying to think of the word that just makes me know that I'm doing the right thing if people are hating.
Did,
So yeah.
is there a certain type of hate that, like, and when you say that, that just fires you up? For example, I posted, first of all, bro, I don't know what's going on with TikTok. Like, TikTok has just been horrible. People just
Or
want to come for your throat. But anyway, I posted a video yesterday, and I'm not kidding, dude. I think I had 28 comments. Probably 25 out of those 28 comments were saying hate from New York, hate from North Carolina, hate from this state, hate. Like, it was like this little trend people did. That's all it was. But it fires
yeah.
me. I'm like, you will never win this. I will be the one with the last laugh. Is it kind of the same thing for you? And is there a certain type of hate that really gets you fired up?
Yeah, yeah, no, I totally agree with everything you just said. I would say when people say I don't like my family or like I don't spend time with my family, I'm like, it's so sad that we live in a generation where I can post a 1 minute video and then you think like that's my whole life. But that just motivates me just to keep posting like the same videos, and you know, there's no such thing as bad publicity. So
Yeah, I any publicity is good publicity. I live by that.
yeah.
Do you though, like with the whole family thing? Does it ever get in your head? Because there's hate. I'd like to say it never gets in my head.
Mhm.
There's time it truly affects me. Like, do
Yeah.
you find yourself getting affected by it?
I being totally honest, like never. Um, I feel I'm trying to think. There was definitely like one day, like seriously, I just don't get affected by that. I was picked on a lot in high school
Mm.
for things, and I felt like because of that history, like I've kind of grown out of that, and I just know who I am, and I'm confident in who I am. At the end of the day, like as long as my family and me are on the same page, then it doesn't affect me. I think it's just something too that like comes with marriage. Like when you're married and you have a family, you just know you've built this foundation, and other people's opinions just don't really matter.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So, like, I saw a video, I think it was at the airport.
Uh-huh.
You posted this, and I think Gray was like trying to get on your lap, or like do something, and then you got up to go get your food.
Yeah.
And I looked at the comments, and it was like the most liked one. It's like, oh, you don't give any attention to your kid, yada yada yada. People just trying to come at you, and you're
Yeah.
saying not at all. Like, that doesn't affect you. Does it ever get into your wife's head? Anything like that? Because it is a slippery slope with a wife too. Maybe emotions get raised up. Nothing
Yeah.
like, or a little bit.
I would say so. Grace gets more like upset for me, I guess. But like she knows it doesn't affect me, but she's just like, that's so rude that people would think that of you.
I,
So it just, I don't know. It really doesn't. The only time that really affected, I guess, Grace was on when I blew up on Twitter and her face became a legit meme because it was like saying that I only give her like 15 minutes of time and like the Salesforce backpack never comes off.
wait, what happened on Twitter? What video was it?
Dude, I can't remember the exact counts. It's like it's something like avocado and dudes posting their W's. I got like reposted on there, like one of my Instagram reels.
Yeah.
And I think combined, like both the posts together had like over 25 million views. And
Five.
I, if you're watching this podcast and Anthony too, if you ever find time, just look up my name on Twitter and look at the roasts in there. They are unbelievable, but they're so much fun to read. Like, I don't know. I think that stuff like cracks me up too. Like hate just cracks me up because sometimes you don't know if it's real, and sometimes it's, you know, it's either fake or real, but most of the time it's real. So
Yeah. And so on like the topic of Gray, I think this is a unique situation because
yeah,
like you're a young father, he's a baby, he doesn't know what's going on, but you're creating like it's essentially a movie for him to go back and watch someday. Like truthfully, he's going to be a teenager and he's going to be able to watch your life movie and see himself in it and grow. Like, what do you want him to take away from that when he's a teenager?
dude, that's a great question. I've never even thought about that. I mean, I've thought about the fact that I've said, me and Grace have talked about it before, where it's like when he's in high school, he can look back and see what it was like when we were married young, which I think is really, really cool. Um, but I just hope what he gets out of it is that his dad had a good time doing it, and that hopefully it's like the beginning of my story. Like, I think that'd be really cool.
Beginning of your story. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, like I feel like this is like the start of something. And I always say this to Grace, like I don't know where content's going to take me,
Mhm.
but I've only been doing, I think it's like 209 days now, and it's already taken me to more places than I ever thought it would. So I guess just saying like when he's in high school, like I don't know what I'll be doing then. Like will
Right.
I have like 100,000 followers? Will I like will I be doing a podcast? Will I be doing this or that? Like I don't know, but he'll be able to get to see a piece of my life, which is really cool at the
That
beginning.
that's a very good point, and it's cool because I think personally when people talk to you about content, they're like, oh yeah, yeah, it's so great because you're able to make money and you're gonna get all this status and people are gonna know. It's like one of the most underrated things about content is you are able to watch your life at all these different stages. Like
Yeah.
last night, I got caught scrolling on my own page and I was going back to when I was studying abroad and at the beginning of the semester. And I was watching these videos and I'm like literally getting emotional. Like, dude,
Yeah.
this was such a cool time in my life. It's different than a picture. Like it takes you right back into this moment and it's such a cool experience. Like truthfully.
Oh, it's so great. Actually, when you just said you got emotional, I the other night I created a evening routine. I think it was on Sunday
Yeah.
with Gray, and it like the first half of the video was like all with Gray, and then the second half was of course me ordering food and eating it or whatever. Um, and I wanted to do Lullaby by, oh my gosh, I can't remember the artist, but it's like a famous song, and that's like the song that I wanted to do with the video, but it
Yeah.
didn't fit the rest of it. But I like saved the snippet with just Gray and just started tearing up while I was watching it. Me and Grace were like, "Oh my gosh, like this is like he's getting so old, and
Yeah.
like these days are numbered, and we're just trying to take them all in as much as we can."
Well said. Yeah, it's a real thing, the emotional side of it. What about I mean, okay, so we're all fluffy lovey. Let's get a little bit on the darker side though. Like
Let's do it.
Gray growing up, right? He has a famous dad. Who knows where content's gonna take you, but you are very well known and people will recognize you out in public. Do you think there's like repercussions for that? I don't know, middle school, high school, adults.
Man, I don't even know. I haven't even given it the time of day that I probably should have. I don't know. I think like I guess like recently we've been like watching our ring more and just like having the
Oh,
security camera set up and things like that. But
yeah,
just to be like nothing's happened, but just to be safe. But
yeah.
I guess I don't know. I actually don't know how to answer that one. That's a
Let's
crazy question, but that's a good thought.
man, what okay, are you I don't but do you try to keep your life a little bit more low key? Like is that always something in your back of your head? Like the privacy aspect? I it's in my head a little bit too. And
Yeah.
I try to not show everywhere I go all the time. But is that a big deal to you?
Yeah, yeah, I would say so. I mean, I try. I don't like to like share exact locations. I'll give like areas that I'm in or little snippets of like places, but like I never want to like if I'm running my neighborhood, I never really want to show like a sign or like a
Yeah.
type of water tower or like a school or something like that, so people like aren't aware of where exactly my whereabouts are.
What about this? So like on the topic of content, mention a little bit darker. Is there ever a time where you would stop? Like, do you think
Mm.
there's a time when it comes kids growing up? I don't know what happens.
Mhm.
Could that be a possibility?
Yeah. It right now I have no idea of what that would look like. I don't ever plan on stopping, but shit happens. And it's like if I started getting really, really busy and didn't have the appropriate time with my family, or, Grace was going through something, or I was going through something personal, or my family, or, you know, whatever 10 years down the road or 5 years down the road has, that discussion is always open for the better part of my family. 100%.
Gotcha. Gotcha. And in the 209 days, have you ever thought about quitting? Has it even popped up a little bit of doubt? Never.
Never.
So how do you get to that point? Because there's so many people. I get messages all the time. Anthony, I want to start content. Anthony, you inspired me to do this. I'm going to start. I'm going to start. I'm going to start. A week goes by and they're done. How is it so easy for you?
I feel so. People have asked me this in messaging, and I feel like in the most humble way, it's hard for me to answer because I did blow up so quickly.
Yeah.
So I was riding on that momentum. Recently, the numbers have slowed down a little bit. So, trying to figure out new ideas. But I think you just have to set a goal for yourself. Like it's like going to the gym, right? Like if you're really going to get committed to it, you have to go like set a goal at the beginning so that it seems achievable. And that goal for me was always like 21 days.
Yeah.
I was always heard that 3 weeks makes a habit. So my goal for this was 365 days, which is crazy. But I would say you got to take it a day at a time, but you have to ride the highs and you have to really ride the lows and like learn from those lows. Like that was the biggest thing. Like I remember posting stuff and it wouldn't work. So I would like look at inspiration from other creators and I would just keep trying. Like at the beginning, I was posting like 2 to 3 times a day. And I just think you just have to be consistent. That's the biggest thing. And I know consistency sometimes just can't be taught because it's hard for people, but as long as you're consistent, I think it'll pay off. And you're trying new things. Trying new things is the biggest thing.
What about, okay, so you brought up an interesting topic. Like one of the things that I'm very grateful for is I posted probably 8 months with zero traction, like zero traction, contemplated quitting a lot, was slacking a lot. It was tough. But that like developed a very solid foundation and made me really have to learn this game and develop a why that has stuck with me for a lot. Do you think that initial success right away could be a bad thing down the road?
Yeah, I think I've already passed that hump. Because like my numbers did already drop and that was really hard. But it's just like I have my goal of posting for 365 days, and now because I have such a big like I think in my head, like as long as I had over 10,000 followers, like I was going to keep doing it, and like I've already like surpassed that, and I don't know, I just think like I can just keep going with it, and it doesn't really like because sorry, I'm stumbling over my words, but because I started off so hot and I've already hit a little bit of a low point, I'm okay. Like I think I know how to deal with numbers dropping now.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I think something me and Andrew talked about was is like this whole concept of evolution and also in the lifestyle creator industry. I don't know if you notice this, but I mean you definitely do because all of us do it. You'll see one guy that maybe starts a certain type of video and then he goes right here and then boom, everybody follows. And then a different guy, boom, everybody follows. Does that like it kind of erodes on creativity a little
Hmm.
bit and the
Yeah.
point of content and then you struggle with uniqueness. Does that ever lead to burnout? And do you think
Yeah.
that's part of your low point?
Yeah. I always feel like I try to use like three creators' videos in one of my videos, if that makes sense. Like maybe their type, or I did it more at the beginning, like their type of angles they would use or whatever.
Yeah.
And like it got to a point where I remember I was like, okay, I feel like I got to make this more mine than these other three creators are like trying to try. You don't want to mirror somebody, you gotta show your own personality and uniqueness. I think just got to give him a shout out. Chase Ridgway does a really good way of that because he only posts like three types of videos, but his personality is super like fun, relatable, and entertaining. So I think like that's all it's about is just getting that personality.
So is that something that you're trying to do now? Like it
Yeah.
on the list of one, two, three, what is it that you do right now that really that you're trying to do that separates yourself?
Yeah, personality. Just doing like a bunch of different camera angles. Like I feel like if you're gonna like, for example, show myself moving a beer, like you want to show it here and then from the top and then like an angle of you popping it. Like three different types of angles. Um, and then just consistency. I just feel like the biggest thing is personality. Oh, and like using your voice. I feel like there's too many creators that don't use their like don't actually talk. And I know like I'm one of those that doesn't do it enough, but those talking videos do really well.
Yeah, because I mean, I think a foundation of content, and this is another topic. Like you think about lifestyle right now, everyone's it's like it's very saturated. Everybody wants to get into this. But
Mm-hmm.
I was listening to a podcast with Alex Hormozy, and the question got brought up, and he's like, "Okay, so Hormozy, I'm trying to be a fitness instructor, and I want to start this. But like, there's all these science guys out there. So how can I go in and do science and tie it into fitness as good as these guys?" And he's like you're not going to be able to. Your differentiator is the personality. It's the
Yep.
authenticity. It's the vulnerability. So like, no matter how saturated this market gets, even if you were to copy exactly what one of us is doing or another creator, but you just show that personality, like literally what Chase Ridgway is doing.
Yep.
It's just like it's a whole nother market that opens up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, seriously, you do that too. You do a really good job of that. So does Andrew. Um, yeah, like you can just tell the difference between your three videos, even if they're a little similar sometimes. Like it's crazy what personality can do.
I agree. Yeah, the personality aspect of it's a very big point.
Yeah, I
What
think it's
about, go
about
ahead.
enough too. Sorry, it
Go ahead.
got out a little bit.
What about going on the topic of like corporate 9 to 5 office? So you worked at Salesforce, really really cool company. Like that is an awesome place in Chicago. That was a sick building. I know the only part that probably sucked about it was the hour-and-a-half drive every
Uh,
single day.
yeah,
But like I'm watching your videos and you don't have a cubicle. Like it's a normal ass desk. So everybody's around you and you start coming in and filming, especially at the start. Did you get pushback or like what did that look like?
no, no pushback. So it was kind of crazy. That was when I probably my second week back at Salesforce from paternity leave. I went back September, so
Mm,
about around October 1st. That's when my videos really started to blow up. They were blowing up a little bit before that, but that's like the peak, I would say.
mhm.
And everybody knew, and actually got thrown in a meeting with my manager. And he was like, "Hey, he's like, let's talk about your content really quick." I'm like, "All right." He's like, "Just want to let you know, like the director knows about it, and we're cool with it. Just make sure you don't show any company data, things of that nature." And like that was it. Like I never got any more never got pushback, which was crazy. Just because I didn't I didn't push the limits really. I only really filmed myself at my desk, maybe a couple times having a DC.
Yeah.
But I didn't you didn't see me like walking in the hallways or really anything like that. Like it was just like at the desk, at the elevator, and then back in my car basically. But yeah, that was hard. Those first 2 days or that first week back, holy crap, I was like tweaking when I was filming.
Tweaking, like just worrying that
I
I
was
mean,
nervous.
uh, define nervous. Like what were you
Yeah,
nervous about?
I just like I felt like everybody was watching me. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Like because people knew on my team that I was doing it, and I like was trying to be super respect. Like, of course, that's my career, and it's like my career comes first because I have a family that I have to support. So I was like really making sure I didn't like push those boundaries to like get myself in trouble. I actually too read the handbook before I went back. And it was just like basically what I was told, like just don't record the screen, don't share any company data, information, etc. So
okay. So it was more of just like fear of getting canned because you wouldn't have a job and less of fear like, oh, I'm in Salesforce. My I don't know, my coworkers may get jealous and they may want me out, or it's just weird that I'm doing it in office and they're gonna give me dirty looks. Like which one was it more?
I think more the like weird that I was doing it in office. Like it just took a lot of like courage. Now that I feel like that was the end of like being nervous to film.
Mm,
After I did that at Salesforce, like of course everybody like it's like an interview. Like I still get nervous, while I'm doing it, but it's just easier. Like at the gym now, I bring my tripod. I bring my tripod literally everywhere. I will set it up in front of 100 people. I don't care. Like I did that. I was doing that at Disney World too, which is really fun.
Oh, dude, I saw your stuff in the airport. In the
Yeah,
airport. Is that a
yeah,
tripod in the airport?
yeah.
Dude,
I literally set it up.
holy, that's tough. Respect.
I
That's tough.
well, I think like leaning into the personality piece, like that's my personality. Like I've like my friend group even knows me as that. Like I don't care. Like I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do at the end of the day. And I think like that is like why I get certain shots. Like I always think about that. Like maybe some shots that I might get, like they're not edited very well, but they're in places where people would refuse to bring a tripod. So I think like that's kind of my special piece sometimes too.
Where do you think that came from? Like you mentioned that some stuff happened in high school, you got picked on. Was that the moment where it changed, where you're like, screw it, I'm gonna do me? Or were you
Yeah,
always like that?
I feel like I've always been like that. Like my mom even said when I was little, like, okay, so this is just random, but I'll just share it. When I was little, I was a very serious baby. Okay. And I'm not a serious guy, actually. That's actually something I got to dive into in my content. I'm like the goofball of the friend group. Um, and when my like aunt or like someone in my family would come and sit next to me when I was like 2, I would like straight face them and then crawl in the other direction and go sit by myself. Like that's what my mom always said I would do. And I just feel like that's kind of how I am today. Like it's like um, I just do my thing, and yeah, I get nervous and sometimes I get a little insecure about it, but like at the end of the day, I'm always going to just keep doing it because I just know like I feel like I have a good idea of like what works and what doesn't work. And again, I feel like I'm coming off as like arrogant or something. I don't. I'm not coming off. I'm not trying to be
No,
that way at
not at all.
all.
Not at all.
Okay.
Like how big of a decision? I know you recently switched jobs, left Salesforce. Obviously, part of that is probably the commute. Like that's a crazy ass commute every single day. But how much of the decision to go fully remote was based on content?
A big part of it.
Really?
I think because of where it's gotten certain brand deals that I've gotten, um, it gave me that opportunity to be a little bit more flexible in the role that I chose after Salesforce. I am doing the same thing, which is cool. Um, and I was just talking about this with Grace. Like, if I wasn't making content, I would still be at Salesforce. It was juggling both of the things, but I kind of thought I want to take like this little leap because I don't think I ever see myself in the near future or really ever quitting my 9 to 5 to do content. It just like it doesn't seem stable enough to me. And I like at the end of the day, who knows how long content's gonna last for, like or social media in general. I think it's gonna last for a long time, but just playing devil's advocate here, it's like I would rather be advancing in my career and advancing in content so that if push comes to shove, I can always go back to my career and be stellar in that area as well.
Gotcha. And like what type of work do you do for the listener that's not 100% sure? What
Yeah,
type?
I'm just in tech sales. So I basically just qualify leads, hand them over to account executives, and yeah, that's basically it. Like,
Okay.
and the whole like the number one like just sales. Like it's the classic sales job. Like I gotta cold call and reach out via email and make those connections.
Do you think sales helps you within content?
100%, a hundred
Okay.
percent.
How
Because
so?
sales is consistency over motivation. So it's like there are days where you don't want to hit your 50 calls. So those are the days that you hit 70 calls. Like that's just the mindset you got to have.
But
That's
okay,
like how I feel when I don't want to film. Then I'll film.
so disregarding the work ethic standpoint, that's a very fair point, 100%. I'm talking more about like human psychology and like
Okay.
selling and now like capturing attention and
Mm,
and pitching brands. Do you think sales work helps your content? And if so, an example or something.
yeah. I think like with negotiating with brands, luckily I am signed by a really cool agency, Vision Ventures. They're the best. So they handle all that. But it when a brand is asking about your rate or like your number, I feel like now because of the in the email threads or the phone calls that I've had in my job at my previous jobs, I'm able to like read those emails a little differently, and we can like ask for more, or
Hmm.
we know like, oh, this is a good brand, and it's like, okay, we're going to take less because of the name of the brand and things of that nature. And then also in just making content in general, like in being in sales, you have to be extremely curious, and I'm extremely curious when it comes to like checking out other people's page. I don't care if you have one follower, and I don't care if you have 10 million followers. I'm still going to look at what you're doing, and see if I can pick up from that and make it my own too.
Interesting. Okay, so break that down. Like learning from a content standpoint, what I've done in the past is I just want to hop on the phone with you and I want to ask you some questions and get to know you. That'll strengthen our relationship. I know you do that too because we've done it and you've done it with other creators. What other aspects of learning the game of content do you do?
Man, just my For You page. I save videos left and right because I knew like what content I wanted to create, but I didn't know how to make it. So if I can watch other people do it, I'm a visual learner, so it comes a little easier to me. Like if you were to tell me like, "Hey, Micah, like I need you to, this is how you build a desk," right? I wouldn't be able to do it. But if I could just see a picture rather than words, like telling me how to build a desk, I could build it easier. So if I just watch somebody do something, I can figure it out. Like I had no content or camera or whatever training before I started making content. I just do it all from my iPhone, and I would just watch like Hubs or Andrew or whoever, even you, and how you guys would like edit with the closing the door thing. I was like, I don't know how they do that. Or like even when like Hubs would grab like something out of his cabinet, I'd be like, does he have two cameras there? And like the more I think about it, I'm like, oh, he's just putting his phone there. So
Yeah.
like just by picking up on like visual cues and things like that.
Okay, that's a fair point. What about this concept? So a lot of people that ask me about content, what I'll tell them is like, and this would have saved me months, bro. Like fucking months of just struggle and being down bad. I tell everybody, and I just had a friend that called me the other day, and he's trying to get in the content. And I say that if you're starting out, what I'd recommend doing is identifying a creator that you want to make content like,
Yeah.
or identifying one or two, and just study their videos and copy them at the start. Just literally copy their videos because that's how you're going to learn. But it's inevitable that human nature at some point you're going to put your own elements into it and make it unique. Is that something you agree with?
100%. There are creators that copy me. I have copied other creators, especially at first. Like I would make shot for shot the same as some videos because I was just trying to figure it out. And again, never thought I was going to blow up as much as I did at first. But yeah, that is the best piece of advice. I do. Okay, this is something that I think really helps too. That I just want to share is when I was in college. I don't know how I still remembered this, but I did from when I started content creation back in August. When I was in college, there were these two guys that I went to the gym with all the time, and they were like obsessed with TikToks. That's when it started blowing up in like 2019, I would say. Mm-hmm. And they were like, dude, get this app and like start posting stuff and you'll just start, blowing up. And I'm like, all right, I never started posting, but they always told me like these three things. And I did this at the start, and I believe like it's why I had some success. They're like 30 to 45-second videos, always use the hashtag For You page, and make sure you're using a sound with 10,000 plus uses at first.
Those three things.
Yeah, that's it. And I like followed that to a T for like 30 days. And then at day 53, I was at 10,000 followers. So it's like day 50 on TikTok, day 50 on Instagram, day 53 on TikTok, I was at 10,000 followers, starting at 0.
It took you 50 days to get to 10K?
Yep. It was the craziest thing.
Wow. And do you still follow all three of those things?
Yes. Besides the 30 to 45 second. Okay. Because now I'm like, I like posting over a minute. I mean, that's how we get paid. But I also like, I feel like the more you make content, it's harder to fit it into 30 to 45-second videos unless you're just like doing one simple thing.
Yeah. So what about that? Like the hashtags and stuff like that. Is that something that people should really spend time on? Or if you have a quality video, do you think is going to be fine?
I think it takes both. Like you need to have a healthy balance of both. Like you can't just post bullshit. You know what I mean? Like you have to, I mean, you can, I guess there's like some people that post the same video every day and then one gets like 1 million views, but no, like I think you have to try as hard as you can. with what you're filming, and then you need to incorporate those three things at the beginning at least. And you need to, and like you 100% need to be posting 2 to 3 times a day the first like month. That's what I think, because
Okay.
that's what I did.
Yeah. I mean, it worked out. I couldn't believe 50 days at 10K.
Yeah.
That's
No,
insane.
it's I have receipts. I have receipts.
What about this though? Like on the topic of videos, you've had multiple videos over, I mean, a million views. But what do you think is the difference between a normal video, whatever that number is for you, and then a viral video? What are the elements in the viral video?
So this again is just a hard question because they're probably, man. Let's say I have 10. I don't even know the number. Let's say I have 10 videos with 1 million views, right? I would say 7 of those I thought were going to be flops.
Okay.
Like, and they're just like quick. Well, not quick, but like I don't know. Like my one video that blew up has like 3 million views and it's got 220,000 likes, and it was just a normal like evening routine. I didn't put any extra amount of editing into it or anything, but I think there was just like this emotional point. So I think it's either got to be fun or there's got to be like an emotional connection. I also noticed recently that if I post a video that has like words instead of just like being like a saying, instead of just like being like getting in my car, like explaining like how I'm feeling, those tend to do really well. But yeah, I would just, sorry, that kind of sidetrack there. But I would say what those do really well is just having an emotional or like fun piece attached to them.
Did those videos have an element of controversy in them? Like were people coming at you for something? Because I do feel like that is, you
Yes.
can't have a viral video that's just all positive comments. There's something that's pissing people off.
It was the hour-and-a-half commute. The family videos are interesting. They're either lovey-dovey or they're like, this dude is so arrogant because he films himself with his family all the time. Or it's the fast food. People hate that I DoorDash all the time.
Yeah, why? Why do people hate that you DoorDash?
Because it's a waste of money, I guess.
Nah, I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do. Why do you eat out so much? Like, do you not like cooking, or what is it?
It's just a part of my life. I love fast food. I'll admit it. It's the hardest thing for me to stay away from.
What is your favorite restaurant? Is it Chipper or is it Chick-fil-A? Or is it that taco place? You get that taco place all the time.
Oh yeah, La Quesadilla. Oh my gosh, that place queso smacks. Okay, so there's like I've actually like dove deep into this question before. So like for consistency, I'll just say Chick-fil-A. But I am in love with Taco Bell. I love T-Bell.
Okay.
Chipotle I like because I feel good after I eat it. You know, if I eat Chick-fil-A, Taco Bell, whatever, I feel like shit afterwards.
Yeah, I remember one of your videos was the midnight snack one, and I think
Yeah.
you got T-Bell.
Yeah.
That shit's got to slap at midnight, bro.
Oh, dude, it's so good. Oh yeah. There's like one rule with T-Bell. You can only have it if it's dark out. If you're a T-Bell for lunch, you got something wrong with you.
Did you make up that rule, or is that like an unwritten rule?
I made up that rule, I think.
I'll take that to heart, bro. I'll never have Taco Bell unless it's dark anymore.
For
What
sure.
what about this? So we mentioned it a little bit, kind of talked on the family thing, great growing up. Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
I see myself in maybe like a senior account executive, like way down the line. I really do love sales. I like closing. I used to close in my old job. Don't have the luxury of doing that now, but in my next role, I would. I don't know. It just gets me pumped up and gets me going. Like to be able to say you like source a deal and close it. That's just so much fun to me. And I'm also like a very optimistic person, so I like picking up the phone and talking to people because you never know what's on the other side of that phone call. Like who knows? What if you're going to close like a 100K deal and then make some fat commission from it just because someone's in a good mood that day, or you help them solve a problem. But either in a higher up sales role, or I would love to be like in management or a director seat. I've always said I would love to lead a sales organization. That would be really cool. But also like in 10 years, if content keeps going the way it's been going, then maybe I'll be doing content full time. Like that's like a dream. but I have a number in my head and it's pretty high of where I'd have to get to even consider. But I think people, like the day in the life, like including my job, I think that's very relatable. So I don't know if I'd really ever make the jump. But yeah, probably in
Is
like a director or management position.
is that number, like when you say number, followers or monthly, yearly earning number?
It would have to be money wise, even though I hate saying that. Like there's just a number in my head that I would feel comfortable like taking a try at doing that or taking a leap at doing that.
Okay. Okay. What about like, okay, so this is an interesting point. So I know you mentioned sales, like management director. I my internship over the summer. This is something that caught me so off guard. I was not expecting this.
Uh-huh.
I think when you're younger, you're around kids all the time, uber ambitious. Fuck, I want to be a CEO. I want to do this. I want to make $1 million per year. Yada yada yada. I get to my internship right away, and I start doing one-on-one meetings with people, and they're like, "Yeah, like I'm happy being at the position I'm at right now. Like I don't want to go any farther because it's going to mean more work and less time spent with the family." I was shocked at how many people truthfully said that, and it just caught me off guard. I was not on the same wavelength, but then
Yeah.
I don't have a family. Do you experience that type of mindset with work or with content at all, knowing that you have your family? You don't.
Sky's the limit.
Interesting. Why? What do you think caused that?
I don't know. I've always been a super motivated person, and I haven't been a consistent person, even though I've been screaming that like you have to be consistent. And it's just something consistency is something that I've worked on, but I've always just seen myself like I just want to reach the top. I have this underdog mentality my whole life because of like I said I was picked on in high school, and I just ride that underdog mentality all the time. Like if I were to was to compare myself to an NBA team, it'd be like the Miami Heat. Like always grinding, trying to get there. So I don't know. I would just love to like yeah reach a high seat. I guess that's just something that motivates me to be the best.
But like what is the underlying thing? Like you mentioned the underdog. Is it more tied to screw those people in high school? Is it more tied to, man, I got a kid, man, I got a wife,
Yeah.
and maybe I
Yeah.
want to prove something? What really is it?
Well, it's really not the people in high school anymore, but that's something that's stuck with me. But I think it's just more 100% my family. Like, I think about Grace and Gray every single day at work. They push me to work harder, do more, especially with content too. They're just, yeah, they're why I do everything. Um, but the biggest thing is I've just been told that I couldn't do things a lot when I was younger and still today. Like I'll get told by certain individuals like you can't do it,
Mm,
and if you tell me that, then I'm gonna do it.
mm.
So that's the biggest thing. I just think I have a lot of like, uh, yeah, just like pain points that irk me, get me going.
No, that's good. Something I do, and it relates. Something I do every single morning. I have a sheet, a laminated sheet, and at the title of the sheet it says, "Who are your enemies?" And I listed probably six different people and things in my life that have said something to me at one point, done
Mm,
something, and it just fires me up. And I read that every single morning to know that these people will never have the last laugh. But it
yeah.
kind of relates to your thing, and it's definitely something that's helped me kind of move along with content. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, dude, that's awesome. I love that. Mine are all up here. I know them. I
There.
know. Oh yeah.
That's that's fire. All right. So I mean, we're kind of getting to this last part of this conversation, and this is more a little bit of, I have it labeled as deep on my sheet, but maybe it's not this deep. First of all, if you could go back to the start and do it all again, would you? And what would you change?
If I could go back to the start and do it all over again, I wouldn't change a thing, and I would do it 1,000 times out of 10 times.
Is there anything you would tell Micah Hescott from a year ago?
Okay. Wait. Actually, I would have started sooner. That's a year ago. I would have said start making content today.
Okay.
But
Why?
sometimes I'm a big believer in timing, and I think like it's all about timing. And I like wonder. Let's say I did start posting a year ago, would I have blown up the same? I don't know if I would have.
Right. Do
So
you do you believe in like everything happens for a reason?
yes, Yes. Actually, wait. I'm sorry. I got to bring it back. You know what's a really good thing, Anthony, too, that helps with those people that get you fired up in your head? Pray
Well,
for
interesting. You pray for them.
them. Mm-hmm.
I don't. So I don't want to pray for them though, because
I
I
don't either.
that, but that dies down a flame in here, which I don't want. You
Yeah.
don't think it dies down a flame?
No, I think like I think I'm able to be motivated by myself still at the end of the day. But like I think that if you're struggling with somebody or like they get you, I think like what you're doing is like in a healthy way for sure. And but I'm just saying sometimes like it's good just to pray for them because there's new ones that come up.
Is faith like a big part of your life then?
Huge part of my life.
Okay.
Love talking about it.
I what are you? Are you Christian?
Yep. Christian, born and raised, no doubt.
Okay, very good. I mean, I see the videos with it's actually cute. Like I like seeing this, but it's like at dinner when you guys are all sitting down there eating,
Yeah.
you guys hold hands and you pray. Like I got a lot of respect for that, and I actually I think that's a cool part about content because in today's world, whatever it is, Gen Z likes to take a push away from God, at least in the past like 3 years. And that's something I've noticed. I became susceptible to it. I made a video talking about why I still go to church in college. Like, born in a small town in
Love
Wisconsin,
that. I remember that video. Yeah.
everybody was like me. It was just the environment. I get here, none of my friends do this. I got people telling me that it's not real. I got professors saying this, and it got to me. And I got mad at my parents. And I'm like, well, maybe this isn't true. I started questioning myself, saying this and that. First of all, questioning myself was the best thing I could have ever done because it really helped me understand why I believe what I believe.
Yeah.
But the whole thing with content then too is like a simple thing like a creator posting about them praying or posting about them going to church, the reach and the message that could spread, it can really help a lot of people. And so that's why at least me personally, I try to incorporate little things like that a lot just to push the message a little bit. And it also helps me reinforce my own faith and kind of just stay grounded.
100%. I totally agree with that. Definitely that helps reinforce my faith too. Because it'll be like, oh, like it pushes you to do devotions or read or pray more. And it's just interesting because the more you do it, the more you're going to do it. That's just, I feel like that's just how it works with faith.
Okay,
And
so
also, oh, go ahead.
go ahead.
There's no way I could do this without God. Like there's no way because if I was just doing this by myself, then I wouldn't have my own strength to do it. And I think like God really helps me with that. And I can bring certain things to him. I can bring anything to him through prayer and he can help me out when things get stressful or
Interesting.
just like with time management and things like that.
When you view that relationship, is it like God, use me as your vessel to spread a certain message? I'm gonna let down my guard, come in and trust me. Like is that what that relationship looks like, or is it like give me inspiration and help me be creative and make someone's day a little bit better? Like, what does
I
that look?
think I think it's a little bit of both. Like I wanna show that I'm a believer and I just want to put out like my natural self and hopefully it can help somebody out. Like a big thing that I always say is it's all about the simple things. I mean the little things. And I genuinely believe that because I'm a Christian, I believe that God is everywhere. He's omnipresent. He's with me right now,
Mhm.
and He's in every little thing. So it just if you can just look at life that way, and in like a little sunrise or sunset or whatever, it just makes your day a whole lot easier when we're in the matrix. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know what you mean. Okay, so top three things. What is it? Or just top one, whatever it is. What do you want people to take away from your content in an ideal world every single time?
Well, to enjoy the little things. I think, okay, here's a big one. I want the younger generation to know that it's so much fun being a father
Mm,
as a young person. Like in my, it was in my lower 20s. We had Gray when I was 24. Um, or no, but yeah, I was 25. Sorry. I just turned 25. And I just think it's something that I really want to show, just like that you can still have so much fun in your life being at home, maybe not out with friends, with your family and with your baby. It's the best. So that little things, and then I would just say the consistency part, like it's not in my content, but the fact that I post every day, like I want people to get inspired by like my content to make more content. I think that's like something that's grown as I've made content. I want people to make content because I feel like anybody can make it in this because everybody's day might be the same, but because you're a different person, it's going to be different content.
Real. Well, what about the father thing? I think that's very unique,
Yeah.
and I think you should lean into that a little bit more with different types of videos because I
Yeah.
think that's an important thing too. But I mean, our generation, it's kind of just like me, 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 me. I don't necessarily. I mean, we're having less kids. People are getting married older. There are
Yeah.
less marriages. Why is it so important for people to want to aspire to be a dad? And what's your pitch to those?
Yeah. I always get the message, or if, I talk to somebody who's maybe married or not married about like kids. They're just like, yeah, I'm not ready, and it's like you're never ready. And I think like that's something our generation has like maybe a hard time coping with. Is like it always seems like we always have to be over prepared for things. Like taking extra classes or extra courses that we're more prepared in our for our job, or getting the highest GPA, or like going to the gym more and being extremely like fit and all this stuff, and then whatever. And it's like with a parent, you don't need any of that. You just need to, well, of course, as a parent, you need to just be wise and make sure you're marrying the right person, and then having the baby. But if you get married and you have a baby, it doesn't matter when it happens. When that baby is here, you're ready. Even if you feel like you're not. Like I still don't feel like I'm ready to be a father, and I have a baby, but I know I am because he's here with me and he's in front of me, and it's crazy how it works. Just this natural thing that I think everyone's afraid of, and it's just a great feeling once it happens.
Like, did you always want to have a kid at a young
Yeah,
age? I,
I did. I did. So that's a little different, but like, because I know there's maybe people that don't, but I know people that didn't want to have kids at a much younger age than me, and they're like, it's the best thing in the world.
really,
And it's hard. It's hard, but it just grows you. I think that's what I like. It's another challenge, and it just makes you a better person at the end of the day. Usually.
I I agree. I really do think you should lean into that with some creative way to kind of spread that message. I get it. It's one thing to show, but I think that's a very important thing. And I think a lot of people would get behind that. And it'd be very cool from my perspective and to have college kids and younger kids just to see that because you don't have many people in today's world preaching that message. So
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Good
I'm
idea.
looking forward to that. All right. And then last question, a little bit more fun. What's just something that people assume is true about you that isn't true, or vice versa?
Hmm. Okay. I never thought I was going to share this one for a while, but I'll share it. DC for the road, okay? So I actually don't really like DC.
What?
Okay, I don't like. That's not like fake, but what happened was that video that blew up. I grabbed the DC for the road, right?
Yeah.
I really wanted one that day, and I got it. And then it just became this thing. Everyone's like, DC for the road, love that DC for the road. And like, I'm not the biggest fan of DC. Like every time I grab it, I'm like, oh, like I don't really want this anymore.
So are you a Pepsi guy or what is it?
I'm just a Coke guy. Like no diet. I'm not a big fan of diet unless it's like I do like diet. I like Coke Zero, or I actually prefer Coke Zero over DC, which people
Okay.
would freak. I feel like about, but yeah, I prefer the sugar.
All right, that's fair. Damn, there's a lot of things you could have said. I was not expecting that right there.
Yeah.
But it's a valid point. Anyway, all right, so we're at the end of the conversation. Micah, is there anything else that we did not talk about that you'd want the world to know?
Nope. Well, I'll say one thing. Anthony's a great guy. He's motivated. Everybody sees it, and I respect what you do, brother. So keep it up. You're doing great.
Appreciate it big time. Where can everybody find you?
Micah.Hescott on Instagram and Micah Hescott on TikTok.
Awesome. All right. Micah Hescott, thank you so much for coming on. Hope you guys enjoyed. We will catch you next time.
All right. It was a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Somewhere on the screen should direct you to somewhere else in our channel. But as always, believe foolishly.